Welcome, Golden Bear fans, to Tell the Whole Damn World. We're glad you're with us today. I'm your host, Reza Serafinejad, and it's another great day to be a bear. As I always like to say, if you're associated with the University of California, you're one of the luckiest people on this planet. Never forget that. It's the 5th week of 2025, and here in the Bay Area, we're very grateful to finally receive some much-needed rain. In this episode, if you're a fan of women's gymnastics, then have we got the show for you. Ahmad Anderson and I spend some time with Mya Lauzon and eMjae Frazier, two of the leaders of the Cal women's gymnastics team, who have lifted the program to heights never before seen. They finished number 2 in the country last season and have their sights set on the national championship this season. And in our Cal history segment with Leslie Mitchell, we'll learn about Douglas Engelbart, a Cal alum who not only invented the computer mouse and pioneered how we interact with computers, but also showed the world the power of networked computers, all in an era when people used punch cards. He was a true visionary who was decades ahead of his time. Before we get to all of that, let's quickly get up to speed on some Cal sports news. The number 8 Cal women's gymnastics team posted their second highest team score of the year, 197.175, to defeat number 21 NC State, who happens to be the reigning ACC champions, in Raleigh, North Carolina. They next take on Stanford this Friday at 7 p.m. at Haas Pavilion. The number 19 women's basketball team routed Pitt 84-53 to move to 19-4 on the season, 7-3 in the ACC. The Cal rugby team shut out the Arizona Wildcats 46-0 at Witter Rugby Field. The men's and women's track teams combined for 5 program top 10 times at the New Mexico Team Open and UW Invitational. And the undefeated Cal men's tennis team moves to 6-0 on the season after sweeping both UCLA and USC. That's the first time Cal has swept the LA schools in Los Angeles in modern history. But it wasn't all glory for our sports teams. The number 18th ranked women's tennis team fell to number 6 UCLA in Westwood. The number 8 women's swimming and diving team posted strong times but closed the regular season with a dual meet loss at number 3 Stanford. And after a 3-game winning streak, the Cal men's basketball team lost to both SMU on the road and Syracuse at home. They're now 11-11 overall, 4-7 in the ACC, and desperately need Andrei Stojakovic back in the lineup. And in other news, the Cal baseball team will be hosting its Fan Fest this Saturday, February 8th at 2 p.m. at Stu Gordon Stadium. Former Golden Bear and reigning NBA Finals MVP Jaylen Brown was selected to his 4th NBA All-Star game. And you may not have heard too much about them, but congratulations are in order for the Cal ice hockey team. They just finished the regular season undefeated with a flawless 24-0 record after beating the Oregon Ducks in Eugene. Up next, we'll be joined by Leslie Mitchell for our weekly Cal History segment. We'll learn about a fascinating Cal alum named Douglas Engelbart, who championed the vision of a future where people could use networked computers to tackle the world's biggest problems. We're going to talk about that right now, and then it's on to our interview with Mya Lauzon and eMjae Frazier, who made the time to talk to us before flying out to North Carolina to beat NC State this past weekend for the women's gymnastics team's first ACC road win.
This week in Cal history.
Okay, there's Don Andrews' hand in Menlo Park. And in a second, we'll see the screen that he's working and the way the tracking spot moves in conjunction with movements of that mouse. I don't know why we call it a mouse. Sometimes I apologize. It started that way, and we never did change it.
Leslie Mitchell, class of 1981, is a third-generation Cal alum and lifelong Cal fan who was at Memorial Stadium in 1982 for The Play. She writes articles about Cal sports history on her website, calbearshistory.com. and tweets about all aspects of Cal's history under the name Cal Bears History, where she posts stories of interesting students, faculty, and alums. She's an absolutely wonderful resource when it comes to learning more about people associated with our university who have gone on to do great things in this world. We couldn't be more thrilled to have Leslie with us as part of our show. Today, we're excited to learn more about a mild-mannered engineer who was a visionary way ahead of his time. Douglas Engelbart came to Cal to get his master's and PhD degrees in the 1950s, and in large part thanks to him, forevermore changed how we use computers. Welcome again to the show, Leslie.
Well, thank you, Riz. I appreciate that kind introduction as always. Douglas Engelbart, he got his master's from Cal in 1953 and his PhD in 1955. And it did so much to change the way computers were used and to advance them that there's a Smithsonian Magazine article that's entitled, The Man Who Invented the Future. And they're not wrong. He really did, at least as far as computers go. He is responsible, he's given credit for the mouse, the computer mouse that everybody in the world has today. He's responsible for hyperlinks, which, you click on something and it takes you to something else. For the beginnings of word processing, the beginnings of networking computers together, video conferencing, computer graphics, you name it. He just changed the whole landscape.
It's just absolutely incredible that this man came up with this vision for things way back in an era when people were still using punch cards. I mean, it's really revolutionary. And as I understand it, he gave this demo in San Francisco back in 1968 that today is just called the mother of all demos, where he demonstrated all these concepts and then showed people what you could do with computers.
Well, to just go back to the way dark ages of punch cards, I just want to point out, when I was a student at Cal in the 1970s, we enrolled in classes by carrying punch cards around from one classroom to another at an appointed 1 hour period of time when the professor or a TA was there and you handed them in your punch card. So it's quite the dark ages, at least, for some of us. But yes, it was, it truly is remarkable. And obviously it's not one person who did everything. He had a lab. He was the leader of a group. But he's pretty much given credit personally for the mouse. He had the patent on the mouse.
Right. Yeah. There were a number of different patents that he received, as I understand it, back when he was doing his graduate work at Cal. And interestingly enough, I read something, or I saw some little video about him where back in that era, like he wanted to study computer science, and it was just considered something that, like, Stanford apparently at that time said, well, no, we don't really see that being a discipline that we're going to have and support. So he came to Cal to do his graduate work. But the thing that I think was most visionary for Douglas Engelbart was this idea of boosting our collective IQ. And I read somewhere that he is recognized as being the pioneer of human-computer interface technology. And like you said, inventor of the mouse and a social impact visionary. He saw the potential of connecting people through a computer to work on all these very difficult problems facing the world, and figured that if people were able to work together collaboratively, that would be the way that we could boost our collective IQ as a species and try to overcome a lot of the challenges in front of us.
Of course, it's debatable whether our IQ has actually been boosted. But yes, I mean, and what's interesting about him coming to Cal is, as you said, the reason he picked Cal is that Cal was willing to do the study of computers at that time, which was this was 1948. And that was not a thing yet in the academic world or in the world in general. And the reason that he came to Cal is we were building the first computer on campus. When you think about it, building a computer, it just sounds like crazy, but it was, that's back when they had to like be a whole room full of equipment to have a computer. There was a project from the Office of Naval Research that was in collaboration with Cal, and they were working on creating a computer there. And he worked on that, on the very first computer that was being built at Cal while he was a grad student in the early 50s. So that was a great opportunity for him. Unfortunately, after that, he decided to go and work at some school down on the peninsula, whose name I can't quite remember, or with a group that was affiliated with them. And that's where he did his work. But yeah, the mother of all demos is kind of his landmark. They had all these things that I discussed at the beginning: the hypertext, the video conferencing, the mouse, all of that. They wanted to show off, and they got a group of about 1,000 computer geeks to come together at the San Francisco Civic Center, and they had this incredible demonstration, and people were blown away that he could actually. It's not the mouse. I mean, I remember before I had a mouse. I think I had my first computer in like 1983, and you had to type in everything on the keyboard that you wanted to do, cut and paste. You had to type the code for that. You had to remember the code for that. Then you had to scroll down to get to it. And, the stuff we do today would be impossible without the mouse. It just makes everything. But as you were saying, it makes the computer usable for actual people.
Well, yes, and that was the thing. I mean, you mentioned that people were blown away after seeing this demo, but I think, reading some of what I'd read, people were kind of awestruck where it was such a departure, so far ahead of its time, that the engineers and everyone who was there really didn't know what to do with this. And so he, unfortunately, was very frustrated that with the direction of where everything went with computers, everything was personal computers and this, kind of a one-off, your own little silo doing your own little thing. And what he really was interested in was this idea of the networking of it all,
right?
And getting people connected so that they could work on these problems. And it seemed like he was a man who was just way ahead of his time. And he, I guess, when I read through the list of the awards that he received, it's just jaw-dropping. The Turing Award, National Medal of Technology and Innovation, the Lemelson MIT Prize. The guy, was certainly well-respected, but I think far after, time that he was working and as a productive thought leader, it seems. Direction went with, Steve Jobs and Apple Computer, and everything was personal computer. And I think that was very frustrating for him to hear some of his interviews years after, his time had kind of passed.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Apple because one of the funny stories is, or probably wasn't too funny to him, he was working for at the Stanford Research Institute, was where he was doing this work. And that's where he invented the mouse. And he got the patent on the mouse. And then the Stanford Research Institute, they really didn't see they didn't even see the value of the mouse as being a big deal. And they sold the rights, all the royalty, flat out patent rights, everything to Apple for about $10,000, which is about $80,000 today. So Douglas Engelbart never got a dime in royalties for the mouse, which you can imagine what that's the money that would have brought in.
Yeah. If you just get like 1 penny from every mouse ever sold, it'd be an astronomical amount.
So yeah, even the people he was working for didn't really see the value, the full value, how this could change, how it could change things. And I do think you're right. He was a little frustrated with how things worked out with computers because he just was always further ahead of everybody else. On the other hand, I think the internet ultimately did validate what he wanted to do to some extent. Right. At the time he did the mother of all demos, one of the cool things was that he actually was interfacing with somebody on video in the hall. They had like a big screen in this hall, and you could see this other person who was in Palo Alto. and they were talking to each other, which seems what are we doing right now? It seems perfectly normal, but that was like the first time that it had ever been seen. But to do that, they had to literally lay a cable all the way from Palo Alto to San Francisco to connect the computers. So obviously there were some steps that still needed to be taken.
Right. They didn't have the internet back then, so had to actually lay wire to do that. That's pretty funny. Lay cable. One thing I took note of, and I just wanted to kind of read through this real briefly because I thought this really kind of informed it how he approached everything in his career. He would focus his career on making the world a better place. And any serious effort to make the world a better place would require some kind of organized effort that harnessed the collective human intellect of all people to contribute to effective solutions. And he rationalized that if you could dramatically improve how we do that, you'd be boosting every effort on the planet to solve important problems. And the sooner, the better that computers could be that vehicle for dramatically improving this capability. So this was stuff that was in his mind way back in the 50s and early 60s. And like I say, it's just incredible to me that this is a man who, when you had first suggested the idea of talking about Douglas Engelbart, I'm like, ooh, like I'd never heard of this man. And I'm sure there are people who are in technology fields who had heard of him, but it's kind of crazy that everyone in the world doesn't know that name.
Yeah, I actually got a response when I posted something about him on my Twitter account. I got a response back from a Cal guy who was clearly a computer guy, and he said, he went to Cal? I had no idea. I thought he was associated with Stanford. So I'm happy to also be able to put aside that particular piece of misinformation. He was a Cal alum.
He actually got his undergrad degree, as I understand it, at Oregon State. So he was an Oregon State Beaver for undergrad. But both the master's and PhD at Cal. So, but yeah, just wonderful learning more about him today. Leslie, thank you so much for bringing him to our attention. And I hope the rest of the Cal community now has a better appreciation for Douglas Engelbart and what he did to help usher in this new era of technology and how we use computers.
The man who invented the future, as they say. Yes. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
All righty. Go Bears.
Go Bears. Wasn't that interesting to learn about Douglas Engelbart? I hope all of you out there now have a deeper appreciation of this true visionary and feel a sense of pride in knowing his affiliation with Cal. And now on to our main event. Joining me in a moment will be my co-host, Cal legend and Hall of Famer Ahmad Anderson, and together we will welcome Cal gymnasts Mya Lauzon and eMjae Frazier to the program. If you've been following Cal women's gymnastics over the last couple of years, then you've undoubtedly heard about Mya Lauzon and eMjae Frazier. They're two of the most talented gymnasts to ever wear the blue and gold. They've helped take the women's gymnastics program at Cal to heights never seen before, and we are so lucky to have the chance to get to know them a little better today. Thank you both so much for making the time today, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and just right off the bat, just wondering, I mean, you probably get this question all the time, but how long have you been doing gymnastics? When did you first start?
Go ahead. So I've been doing gymnastics for now 14 years. So I started a little bit later than I feel like the normal age for starting gymnastics is. You normally start in like mommy and me classes or like when you're like 2 or 3, but yeah, I started a little bit later. So I started when I was 7. And yeah, my parents just put me in and I stuck with it ever since.
Yeah, I'm a little different. I started when I was 3, like 4-ish. So I'm like between 17, I'll say 17 because I just turned 21. So it's 16 to 18 years in there.
Wow. I mean, happy birthday. I think you just had a birthday this week, right, MJ? Is that right?
Yeah, Wednesday.
21.
A couple days ago. Thank you.
Right. Congratulations. Have to buy you a drink at Rollins.
Stop.
I sure
That's
Temple would be
funny.
nice.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. She loves a good Shirley temp.
I do. That's my go-to if I can't get a spray.
Well, and so now neither of you are from the state of California, right? So do you remember when you first heard about Cal growing up?
For me, I always knew it as Berkeley. So I didn't even realize where the gymnastics team was until the summer of my junior year after the whole new rule change where you can't do anything until your junior year. I just remember going through the top 10 gymnastics and academic schools, and I saw California, and I was like, oh, what's that? And then I was like, oh, it's Berkeley. And then the coaches reached out, and I was like, oh, wow, they're on the rise. They're doing really well. They're in the top 10. And that's kind of all where it started for me, my junior year, which is crazy because then I ended up committing in December.
Yeah, so I first heard about Cal throughout kind of the beginning of the recruiting process. And I mean, my eyes were always set on to going to a university with really good academics. And I also kind of knew it as just Berkeley. And then I found out they had a gymnastics team. My mom had also, during the time of the whole recruiting process, had moved to California, to Northern California. And so, yeah, I mean, Cal was in the area and they had a gymnastics team. Also saw that they were on the rise. And so started to get in communication with Liz and Justin a little bit. But yeah, so that's kind of how I found out what Cal was as well as a gymnastics program, at least.
Yeah, there's, I mean, we struggle with it all the time, right? Everybody's like, okay, so Cal, you talking about Cal State or Cal Poly?
People get confused.
Right?
Yeah,
And
all the time.
I saw, one sweatshirt, I think, being sold at the ASEC store, Bear Student store. And I just said, big script Cal, and then underneath it, UC Berkeley. It's like, okay, so that
that makes sense.
Yeah, just all of that.
Well, I'd say that, first of all, it's exciting to have you. When you're talking about coming from other states and you're trying to choose a school, and branding is everything, but I know that as an athlete, you're really trying to weigh both things out, right? I want to go and compete with something I'm very passionate about. But at the same time, which makes Cal super special in this world to me and to many others, I want to go somewhere where I have an opportunity to be all I can be as a student who happens to be an athlete and have the best of both worlds. Because at some point in life, the cheers and the lights sort of fade away. But then you have to think about, what am I going to do moving forward? And what am I prepared to do? Tell me how Cal made it an attractive place for you to come to. And what are you looking at as far as what you decided to major in and what you're going to major in, all that wrapped up in one.
Yeah. From a young age, I mean, my parents have always emphasized that, academics was important. And so when looking for a university where I wanted to continue my education, academics was also always an important thing to look for. And I mean, Cal being such a prestigious university, of course, that was always going to be high up on my radar. But also the fact that their gymnastics team was growing, their program was rising. And so being a part of a program that had both great academics and great athletics was going to be the number one thing that I was looking for in a university. And yeah, so I am a nutrition and metabolic biology major. And I mean, yeah, gymnastics was sort of my gateway, my ticket into my education. And so to make it to Berkeley, to Cal was such an amazing thing. But yeah, so those were kind of the two eye-appealing things when I was picking my university. And I mean, I'm a STEM major, and it's a great thing to study that at Berkeley. And so the opportunities are kind of endless. especially, and I'm a senior, so I'm going to be graduating this year. And I mean, I've had a great 4 years being a part of this program, and especially with my education, my academics here at Berkeley. So graduating in the spring is going to be really cool because, I mean, having a Berkeley degree under my belt, I mean, it's going to hold so many endless opportunities for me. And that's always been super important to me. So yeah, that's sort of how I looked at it from a young age coming here.
I would say I'm actually pretty similar with Maya. I mean, growing up, it was always like academics are super important. And like as a student athlete, like people might not always think of it this way, but like you have to do well in your academics in order to even be a student athlete. And kind of thinking like you want to be the best that you can in like both ways, academically and as a gymnast, and like Cal being the #1 public university. And again, like our gymnastics team on the rise. Yup. On the rise. It was just like something like caught your eyes, and then you meet the girls, you meet the coaches, and it's just, you kind of feel that environment that you want. And for me, it was also the fact that it was like kind of a city, and it was like not so enclosed, and I felt like I could like grow into like the person that I want to be, and like not feel like sheltered, but like a chance to like kind of see the outside world before I had to go to that outside world and like grow up. And I think just the fact that it was like we can help create history here and like have a chance to win national championship, like that's something like you don't have opportunity to say all the time. Like Cal's creating so many new things these past few years, and these new records, and we're just continuing to get better and better and growing with each other. And it's just that opportunity that you don't get to see or don't get to be a part of at other universities. And I think that was really just a big part that really like caught my eye and caught my attention. And for me personally, like I wanted to be somewhere in the sports and medical field, and I wasn't sure exactly what that would be. And as I was here, I kind of realized I also like marketing. So I kind of got into psychology, which I was like, would be perfect for me because now I want to be a sports psychologist. And I'm a psychology major.
All right.
And I work like graphics and marketing for like SAC. So it's something that I could grow into and continue to be part of. Like all the different career paths that I want to go to kind of fit into the psychology part because it's general. And now it actually works with the pathway that I want to get into. So it's really awesome to be able to do that. And also like Cal is so diverse. We have that chance to be part of like all those different sales and eMjae. Like I'm also the president of our Black student athlete community here.
Yes.
President. So it's really awesome. Like you have all these different opportunities and the different clubs that you can be a part of that will help you with your future and your next steps into the world. So I think it's just a great opportunity. And especially with grad school, it's like, hey, like I'm graduating from Berkeley. So it's kind of just makes your odds so much easier, like with whatever your next steps are going to be.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not shocked. I am only amazed because the dream is just being realized through all that you've come through, where you are and where you're going. And that is a beautiful thing. And really that is the greatest selling point of why a student athlete, for me, would want to come to Cal. So thank you for sharing that. It's really nice.
Cal is, it's the springboard to all of these opportunities that you're going to have in life.
Okay.
And,
sure.
To see that you two are just fully embracing that and taking advantage of the opportunity to be a student athlete at, our university. And I can just see you're going to have like limitless potential to go out there and do great things in the world. So yeah, hats off to you. Talking about this year's gymnastics team, you've got so many talented teammates. And obviously, think of you two as being the leaders of that team, but there are so many women on your team who are just all so talented. And maybe just tell us a little bit about this year's team and your coaches.
I think since their senior class has 5 girls going out, and we got 5 freshmen coming in, which for my class, we had 3. And then we got a 4th one halfway through. And it's like one of the biggest classes that's come in. The freshmen are so eager, so hungry. They love gymnastics. Every second they get, they're in the gym working their butts off. And just being their best and like showing what they can do. And it's amazing to have their energy come into the gym and continue to just kind of show off what our team means to us and our team culture and values. And it's just like, they love gymnastics so much. And it's just a great reminder to just see like these girls come in every day and be like, we love gymnastics, because like we all do. And just, it's so refreshing to see that freshman like perspective of college, because like I remember when I was a freshman, I came in and I saw the college girls, and it's just that switch from before you came in club to like now and college. And it's just always a reminder like to see how far we've come and how much we have grown as gymnasts. And just like our team is just so bubbly, so full of life, so positive, and it's amazing to just have the atmosphere and continue to see it grow and like follow the culture like as our team continues to like, you know, grow and like change, just to continue to have that culture follow us around. And seeing those girls come in and help embrace and embody that culture on the team is just amazing. And like, they're amazing. They're so talented. Every day they're in here trying something different, trying new techniques, new skills, and just having so much fun in the gym. Like whatever it is, they'll go at it as hard as they can. It's amazing to see them like go out there, compete, and continue just to embody this new environment and kind of show what they have. Like as a team, again, we've been changing, we've getting better every year, and everyone comes in and adds something new and something different, personality-wise, gymnastics-wise, and it's just it's like such an amazing thing to have, such an opportunity for everyone to come in and show their different thoughts and beliefs, and everyone wants to come in and add something to the team. Everyone's leading and kind of just showing off who they are as a person and just adding it to who we are as a team and as the Golden Bears. And I think it's just so great to have on the team.
Yeah, no, I would say that we definitely have a special team this year. I mean, every year is different. We have seniors leaving, we have freshmen coming in, but yeah, we have a great group of freshmen that came into our team, and, you know, it adds a lot of depth. Last year we were kind of banking on a steady lineup of all-arounders. This year we have more depth on every single event, which makes it great for our team. You know, we'll always have someone in our back pocket to throw in whenever we deal with any sort of adversity, which is great. I think them coming in, especially with us just coming off of a great season and making it to nationals and, you know, getting second, I think that puts a great perspective, especially because we are able to kind of trickle that energy down. And because we were so close last year, we're able to embrace and talk about how much of an opportunity and how great it was to make it that far into season. And so I think it's changed everyone's mindset, and it's made all of us, you know, really eager, really hungry. We're a special group of girls that are talented, and, you know, we've got a lot to bring on the table. And so, yeah, I think we have a really special team this year. We also have a special group of coaches. We have a new addition, Seth, which he is an amazing coach. Yeah, you know, he brings a lot of energy and a lot of fun into the gym, which is what our team thrives off of. We practice with joy, we compete with joy. And so everything we do into the gym with our coaches and with our team, you know, it translates into our competition, and it's nothing different than what we do in practice. But yeah, we have a special group of coaches that, you know, help build our team and really navigate us in the right direction. And same with the girls. Yeah, so overall, I think we just have a really special group of people that are, you know, really determined, and, you know, we're working towards all of those postseason accolades, especially that national champ.
And just sort of, you know, building on what you stated, you talked about mindset, you talked about the togetherness, and you talked about the leadership and mentorship of the coach and how that all comes together. You know, Simone Biles brought it to our attention globally about health and well-being. Tell me how you manage that as student athletes. How do you manage that from that in competition to in the dorms or the apartments in life? How do you manage that, and what can you share, if you care to, for how it can work to your advantage to get support or having the support you have?
Yeah, definitely being a student athlete is really difficult, especially being at Cal. We have so much on our plate all the time, especially when we're in season. We have to focus on our academics and our athletics all in the same time. And juggling that can be really difficult. But I think especially recently, mental health and wellness has been especially important on our team. We take the time to ourselves. We create a schedule where, we can do our classes, do our athletics, but also spend time and, hang out with our teammates or do things that we're passionate about outside of the gym, just so we can take care of our well-being, because being a student athlete can be really difficult when we're juggling so many different things. So yeah, I mean, I'm going back to kind of the opportunities that Cal has presented. I'm on the e-board for Cal Athletes Leading Mindfulness, which is a mental health and wellness salo. And so we kind of prepare activities for student athletes to kind of just come into a safe space and either do some sort of activities or talk about things that they want to get off of their chest. But yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities and resources, especially at Cal, that student athletes and that we can utilize to take care of our well-being, whether that's academic stress, athletic stress. We deal with sports psychologists. We have one that comes in every Tuesday. That's been amazing for our team and sort of navigates us in the right direction, dealing with, athletic stress, competition stress, practice stress. We work with like breathing techniques and distraction techniques. So we have a lot of resources that we can utilize as a team and as individuals, which has been really great, especially just juggling, all of the complexities that come with being a student athlete.
Yeah. I'd say, like, to go off of that as well, the biggest switch from club to college is competing every single weekend, and it's trying to figure out how to manage how to do that, because you go from competing a few times a year to 12 weeks in a row and then postseason on top of that. And I think, like, kind of just getting into that rhythm of, like, you have your treatment, you have your daily schedule, you have your classes, and kind of just, that's when you just become more organized as a human being. And it just helps you set life up for the future, because you got to learn how to take care of yourself now in order to get yourself ready for the rest of the year. And I think kind of just like Mya said, we have so many resources here that help us. I mean, we even have like Teamworks, which literally puts your classes, your gym schedule and everything on there. And the school also provides lunch for us. So it's like we're able to get those resources that help us kind of stay on track. And then as an athlete, you got to, put stuff on your calendar. It's like that big portion is like you growing up into an adult, and kind of just working out your schedule and what you need, what's important to you, what your body needs, and being responsible. And I think, like, it's hard, especially when you're coming into it as a freshman, but like once you figure out that routine, it just becomes a part of your daily life, and it's something you need. Like, you get your rest, you get your treatment, you know what to eat, and like you just figure out how, life handles and as a student athlete. And especially because, like Mya said, we have class all day, you practice, and then on top of that, you still have to figure out how to treat your body at the end of the day. And like the recovery, again, is so important. You have your day off, but you also have to think about what you're doing during the day at that time. And I think we're lucky enough to where we can get, like, if we have a competition during a test or exam or homework that is due during a time that we're not even on campus, we can get it during, we can have someone watch it, we can take it early, we can take it later. Like, we have those resources in our pockets to where we don't have as much stress on our table, and it's just, we can be able to be a student and be an athlete at the same time, and kind of make sure that we're getting everything we need, because at the end of the day, we still want to do well in both areas. And it's, again, about how you can manage your time and putting everything in a certain box, because, like, at the end of the day, again, it's like, how are you presenting your time to yourself and to other people? Like, me and Mya are part of a whole bunch of different e-boards, and we're on a coaches council, and it's like, you would think we have so much time, but it's really just like how we're putting it down into our schedule, and are we staying on top of our work? Because we get a lot of homework, we have to read books, we have to do a lot of things, but it's what you want to be, what you want to get out of your time here at Cal, because it's so short. And again, like, once you figure out that routine, it makes your life so much easier, and you get to see all those opportunities that Cal has for you. And it's kind of awesome because as a student athlete, like no one can tell you, oh, you're here just because you're an athlete. Like we're doing
That's
the
right.
same classes as you are. We're doing
That's right.
the same schedule. And on top of that, we're going out and competing every single weekend. So we're becoming like the top people to multitask and just be
Yep.
able to time manage all this.
Well,
Things.
you truly have to live it how you get it and get it how you live it. Because
Exactly.
if you don't
Yes.
invest in yourself, then the end product it comes up short. I've always said this, and when I even coached for kids, A+ efforts lead to the greatest possibility of having A+ results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, like, just hearing you guys talk, and I mean, obviously challenging. I mean, being student athletes, you get like just how difficult it can be to juggle everything that's in front of you. But I got to say, especially with you two, there is this joyful, like, fun attitude that you bring to all of this, and you see it in the interviews, you see it in when you're competing, and yes, there's obviously a lot of pressure when you're out there, but I've always just been really impressed by how much joy you bring to when you're competing, and one thing in particular that I think is just really cute, and this may have been happening for quite some time, but where did this tradition come with the donning of the giant bear head and running around after having completed an event? Where did that come
My goodness. I honestly that was like before
That was before we got here,
we just made it more active, I would say.
I guess. But yeah, that definitely started before my class got here, because by the time I had been a freshman, the bear head was already ready for us to throw on after we competed. So I'm not entirely sure who started that, but I mean, the gym internet loves it. So
Yeah.
I love it. The gym fans love it.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of our past seniors, got it from like one of their brothers or their
Something
friends.
like that.
It was just so
I'm not the
random.
most knowledgeable person on this, but
They
Come
found
on.
people enter competitions, I can tell you that.
Yeah, they found the bear head, thought it was a good idea, and I think now, like now baseball does the bear head, and it's so funny. Like we used to do it all the time, and now we're like making it. Now the bear head is for like sticking, and it's like awesome because like before it'd be like, hey, bear head, and now
Yeah.
it's like now it's the bear head like stick, and
Yeah.
it's so funny because we'll like whoever has the bear head in their possession for the weekend, make sure it doesn't get lost. Walk into the airport with it on their head and onto the plane, and people are just like, what is that?
Hey, look, yeah, that would be a great, like you all should create, in the athletic department, create like a treasure map. The bear head. And the bear head would show up like in Wheeler Hall.
Yes.
That's funny.
Or all of a sudden, bear head would show up in Doe Library.
Yeah. Like, we don't have enough bear statues around campus. We
Right.
just throw the bear head
Right.
randomly in
Right.
different buildings. We can spook people a little bit. Maybe have like a Cal W gym like flyer inside in case anyone
Yes.
to
Is this
See
a
it.
bear head or is it
promote our gymnastics meet.
Well, that's really engaging. It excites me when I see it and I get somebody texting me and said the bear head just showed up, and they'll text me,
Yes.
bear head just showed up, and that's bear territory. They got to mix it in
thank
there some
you.
kind of way. But
Yeah.
that's super. That is so inspirational and exciting to be able to be in the moment and yet to really be authentic and to pull people in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You get a 10. You get a 10 from me. That's a 10.
The bear head automatically gets a 10.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
amount of pictures we've gotten where like the bear head's like perfectly on, and then it's like the way you're just positioned with their bear head on, and it just looks amazing. I had that as like my background one day after bars. It's just like
Yeah.
so. It's the best thing ever, and especially like when you put the bear head on you, you're running to the team, and it's just like that feeling of everyone around you, and you have the bear head on, and you're like, yes, I did it. Like it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
Bear head coming to your school soon.
Yes. No, our thing. Come
It's
on.
just- it's such a great way that you can
There's
connect
always
with
coming.
everybody out there. And so, building off of that, though, what kinds of things do you do for fun? And are there any places in particular that are your favorite places to eat around campus?
Yeah. So some stuff I like to do outside of school and gym. I'm a big reader. I love to read. I'm very spontaneous when it comes to exploring new foods and new cafes, especially. Yeah, so I have a lot of good cafes that I love to visit and do my work there. I do my best studying at cafes, actually. So over the years, I've explored a lot of cafes on campus because, order a coffee, do my work, sit down, have my stuff spread out, and it's a great studying environment. Yeah, and then I would say my favorite place to probably eat around campus is KO Stop. It's like a Korean fried chicken place on Durant. Oh my gosh. I don't get it as much as I used to, but I used to get KO Stop about 4 times a week. It was like an unhealthy obsession that I had. Now it's maybe once or twice.
Yeah, you guys are lucky. I was getting KO Stop and crumble.
And
Crumble.
now they have
Oh, I had to back away. My lady, she was going to put me in a program. You got to stop. You gotta stop.
Oh yeah.
Me, what I like to do when I'm not in gym or in school, I like to kind of drive around. I don't know. I love driving, and now I have my car out here, so it's just really nice to put the top down and kind of just drive around campus when it's a nice day. I also like to I like being outside, going grizzly, kind of looking at the sky, clearing your brain out, whether it's at night or during the day. And I think that's just something that it's so calming, especially because I'm from Jersey. I like being outside. I like seeing the trees. So at least going to Grizzly, I can get as close as I can to green and I can get a really pretty view of Oakland and SF, the Bay Bridge, and kind of just everything that's going on there. It's really relaxing. I can see the stars, which is also something that I get from at home. One of my favorite places to eat, I swear this changes all the time for me. I really like Zachary's deep dish. It's
Oh, I tried that for the first time actually.
I like it.
3 days ago. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, see?
Liked it.
Good. We keep finding new places here. I also really like oh my goodness. I really like Super Duper.
Super Duper's a good
Super Duper is really good.
That's
It's okay.
on. I know.
Super Duper is really good.
You're thinking, God, I could get one of those right now.
Not to me, but definitely when I get back on Monday.
Yeah.
Treat myself
I'll
to
let them
something.
know you're coming because I'm going to go by there tonight.
They've got good soft serve there.
Oh, they do. Yeah. And
milkshakes.
milkshakes.
And
Hey, I'll get a Sprite before I get a milkshake. Thing. I love Sprite. But gosh, right? Recently, we have this thing called Red Card. So there's certain places on campus that we can get food at, and I've been going to Callie's, which is pretty new, pretty recently, because they have pasta, pizza, burgers. They have everything you can think of, and it's pretty good. So I've been going there a lot. And if not, La Burrita. Oh, no, wait. There's this one place we really like called Dog House.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's temporarily closed right now. It has been for a little bit.
on San Pablo, right?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
On San
Oh, my
Pablo.
goodness.
It's so good.
It is the best. And
Yes.
look, no offense to Top Dog, but I got to tell you, that dog and the layers and all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The
The Hawaiian bread rolls.
Oh,
The best part.
look, I'm just going for the Hawaiian bread. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys are all making me hungry. I haven't had lunch yet. I'm just...
This conversation's making me hungry too.
And then after that, you have to get your dessert. Don't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Hey, look, I got to ask you, and I know we don't have a whole bunch of time, but, you both talked about the outdoors. You both come from Very beautiful spaces, Northwest and in the Garden State there in Jersey. Tell me about the environment for you. You said about outdoors, what that's like at times, but just when you're in your solitude, where do you find that space? Because I know sometimes it can get a bit hectic, but finding that solitude in your space, where do you talked about getting out there, seeing the stars, whatever, but where on campus, a location on campus?
That's a really good question, actually. Yeah.
Because I feel like Cal is like a park in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot
It's just
of
one big park, a living museum, if you will.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, the Glade is always really nice. Like, as a team, we'll go to the Glade and, like, play some volleyball or kind of just kick around things. And, like, the Glade is, like, such a big thing of green. You just lay down and you're just, like, it's just so calming right there, I feel like. And especially, again, like, spring break when no one's doing anything, no one's on campus, you just go and it's just us together. And it's just, I think that's, like, probably one of the calmest places that I can think of right now, at least, like, just finding some green, finding some grass, and just relaxing.
Yeah, definitely the Glade is a good place, especially just to, unwind, hang out with people. Yeah, especially if you're an outdoors person. I mean, it's a nice park and you get to, you can do so many activities there. There's always a lot of clubs over there doing their own stuff too. And just being in an environment with a lot of people is nice. Yeah, kind of how I talked about earlier, I'm a very big cafe person. So my favorite cafe that I've been going to for the last 2 years is Edmonds. It's inside the International House. And yeah, so I do a lot of my studying there, which I find myself a lot there, especially during the weekdays, where I can just like order a coffee and kind of just like take time to myself and do my schoolwork, but also just like kind of relax and, be in an environment with other students, but also, enjoy a cup of coffee because I'm a big coffee drinker. And yeah, also just like, being able to like be home and hang out with my roommates, especially. I mean, like, these are the girls I've been with for the last 4 years. And so, I mean, I've established such a great relationship with each one of them. And so even just coming home after a long day of studying or a long day of practice really keeps me grounded, just spending time with those people because, this is the place where you're making your lifelong relationships with your friends. And so being able to come home, especially after like a hard day of practice or like a stressful day of school, keeps me grounded because they're great people to be around. And so I enjoy being able to come home to them a lot.
That's
Yeah.
special. That's special.
I mean, I live with Maya.
Yeah, we are roommates.
Yeah, so honestly, one of the like best part of my days is coming home and like kind of just like sitting in the kitchen with the girls and just talking for like hours and like not even realizing what time it is and just like unwinding.
Because sometimes you need that.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, especially in the summer, no gym, no school, and you were all just here hanging out with each other. Like, I was gonna say like Cafe D, but like Cafe D is closed. But like, just like we'll go and get like some food somewhere, and it's just like nothing else around us really matters. It's just kind of enjoying the moments that we have with each other and kind of just like embracing each other and just again like talking things out, being girls and just having fun with each other. It, like takes up a lot of time, but it's like time that like we don't want to get back because it's every moment that we have with each other is so important and just so great to have with each other. So I think that's definitely also just coming home, I guess, is a nice place to unwind.
That's just so great to have that relationship. On previous episodes, both Ahmad and I were lamenting the fact that, in this era of transfer portal and all this, that, student athletes can bounce from one place to another. And I just feel like it's such a shame that you don't really truly establish those lifelong relationships, if you're not able to really experience just being a student at a university for a period of time. If you just bounce after 1 year, it just seems like it's so difficult to really establish that. But I had a question, and just trying to be mindful of your time here, because you guys are off on the road This weekend, as I understand it, you travel to North Carolina to take on NC State on Sunday,
Yeah.
and then flying back to come back to Haas and playing against Stanford next Friday, a week from today.
Yep.
How has this experience been for you with all the travel now being part of the ACC? Is only imagine that's a lot of time spent in planes.
Yeah, I mean, being in the ACC, it's definitely really cool. I mean, we've established a really great conference, and the addition of Cal and Stanford to a sort of smaller conference has been really cool. I mean, I think it's presented a lot of good opportunities for us to kind of get out there more and compete with other teams, as well as, traveling to different places that we haven't been to before. I mean, the traveling aspect of it, yes, of course it's going to be difficult, especially like while we're in season, while we're doing school, that's another thing that adds to our schedule. And so juggling all of that can be really difficult. But I mean, like, again, our coaches, our staff, everyone who works with us, we have so many resources that make that transition to a different conference a little bit easier. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's only week 4 right now. But so far, it's been really cool. I mean, even like competing with Clemson, a school that we haven't been able to compete with before, was a pretty awesome experience. And going to NC State's going to be really cool. But yeah, I think overall, just getting out there and building a new conference and being able to be a part of that opportunity. And I know I'm only here for one more year, but I think being able to experience that, being a part of the Pac-12 for the last 3, is something new and something exciting. For all of us to kind of be out there doing together, especially because it's not just like this is an individual, like, conquering something new. It's a whole team aspect that leads into a bigger thing about other schools competing against each other in a new environment. So I think the atmosphere is really cool. And I'm really glad I get to be a part of it for my last year in my career.
Yeah, just like Maya said, like, to be able to have this opportunity to go against a bunch of different schools that we never would have had the opportunity to go against in previous years is so amazing. Like, it's great practice for us to be traveling across the country, because regionals can be anywhere, and to have that practice of going all across the country, and when there's a chance we could be in Penn State or we could be at Washington, I think it's kind of like an advantage that we get to practice those things. And I know our AD worked really hard to make sure that we were part of a conference that, competed at the highest level, and not only with athletics, but with academics as well. And so being able to have the opportunity to be with so many amazing schools that care about, athletics, but academics as well, is just such a great opportunity. And we get to see all these different people, all these different opportunities, and continue to grow as gymnasts. And like Maya said, like, we're kind of here helping create even newer history, like with the conference. We're just so lucky to be able to join this conference, and they just became a conference officially last year, adding Clemson. And so it's really cool to be able to come here in the beginning of it and just being like, hey, like, we are there at the beginning of the creation of the ACC Gymnastics. And I think, again, it's just so amazing to be able to have the opportunity and to be able to say that we were in 2 different conferences, and it just, no matter what, between our resources, our coaches, our athletic director, our trainers, and our teachers, like, everyone's looking for the best for us and want to make sure that we're doing well inside and outside. Like, that's why we have people who can come and proctor for us, or kind of just making adjustments for what we need with our schedules, because at the end of the day, we do want to compete at the top. But again, we want to be able to do well with our academics, because that's something that's really important here at our school. Yeah, like, it's hard, but again, like, we're getting on the plane anyway, so, like, kind of just sleep a little longer. Like, really, what's one more hour? It's one more. And for us, like, there's 6 teams, and that's including us in Stanford, so really we're only traveling to the East Coast like twice. So it just gives us more opportunity to practice for postseason, going and having more quads and more podium meets, and it just makes us be able to prepare ourselves for later down the road a little easier.
That is a great attitude to have. I'm glad to hear it. And I mean, I think that speaks to your attitude in general, how you approach everything. but I think that's just a wonderful way to approach it for sure.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. Yeah.
I was going to say, first of all, it's been a joy having you on.
Thank you
You know,
so
I
Yeah.
have, you know, having been at Cal in a while, you know, starting as a freshman in '78 and then coming back and working for 13 years and now on the alumni board of the Alumni Association. I've had those experiences and I can see myself in you, and that just brings me a lot of joy, as you said. And one of the things, as you know, I created the Bear Territory cheer, but that Bear Territory piece is all about the things that you've talked about. It is about the sport. It is about being a student athlete, but it's all that and the support you have and those lived experiences. So the question we ask, the $1 billion question we ask, is what has been your Bear Territory moment for you? It could be when you found out the coach came to say, you've earned a scholarship. It could be your first 10. It could be just being in that moment when you looked around and said, I'm here. And that sense of gratitude for all that you've gone through. Share with it, if you will. Share and tell the whole damn world.
I think for me personally, it was my freshman year against UCLA, where I think it was the most fans that we had in the arena, like for gymnastics. And like that year we had really great attendance, and especially that meet. To just feel that energy that, you know, that we have been building that fan base, and to be able to go out there and have such a great competition, like it really was like, yeah, this is Bear Territory. Like these are the people that are here supporting us day in and day out.
Yeah, so I would say my Bear Territory moment was probably my first time competing at Haas. I mean, I think that's my Bear Territory moment just because it was an aspiration for me to, you know, be a collegiate gymnast. It was all that I looked forward to. I'm coming to college, and getting into this Cal W gym program was, you know, my gateway to my education, like I mentioned earlier. So being able to break into a lineup and compete at Haas for the very first time was kind of just like my moment where I was like, wow, I really made it. And I'm here and I'm expressing all my gratitude. You know, my parents pulled so many strings for me to get here. And I just competed my first vault in Haas. And so, yeah, I would say that was my biggest Bear Territory moment. I mean, it was a funny interaction that I had. I finished my vault too, and I was so excited that I like forgot to like run back down the vault runway to like celebrate with my team because I was just like jumping up and down. It was really funny. But yeah, so I would say just like competing for the first time with my team at Haas was definitely my Bear Territory moment, and being able to kind of say, yeah, you know, I got to step into these new shoes and compete in a new atmosphere, and something that I've been, you know, I've been wanting to do since I was a little kid, and it finally came true. And so once I got to step out there and do that for the first time, I would say that was definitely my Bear Territory moment.
Yeah. I think like
No,
now we always like when we're somewhere else, we like as a team, we're like, all right, this is our Haas. Like we make sure to like put that in there and like we're gonna make this our Haas, and we're gonna go out there and treat the energy and the fans like there are fans from home. And I think just being able to have that experience at Haas and like knowing the support you have around you from your family to your coaches to your fans and your teammates, it really just helps you remember like, you know, where you want to be, like where we want to be at Haas, like just carrying that to us everywhere we go and just continuing to embody what it's like to be in Bear Territory.
it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate that answer, and we, I know we got to let you go here, and we just one last thing, just a question to ask: is there anything in particular you wanted to tell Cal fans out there before we let you go?
Hey, we'll see you at every competition coming up this year, and hopefully you'll be out there bringing the energy in Bear Territory at Haas and continue to support your Bears.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just come out, watch us this season. I mean, we have such a special group of girls that have so much in their back pocket, so much gymnastics that they want to show to the fans. So yeah, come to Haas and make it our Haas with us. So yeah.
Yeah, Bearhead coming to
Bearhead
your
is
town
coming
soon.
Go
Come see.
Bear. It's our Haas
Yes.
everywhere.
Women's gymnastics, you are killing the game.
Thank you.
And you are Bear territory.
Thank you.
That's right. No, hey, well, thank you both so much for making the time. You're both sensational, great representatives of our university, and we just
Absolutely.
thank you so much for taking the time here today, and for everyone out there to get to know you both a little bit better. And hey, congratulations on all your success so far, and good luck the rest of the way. We'll be out there watching you guys compete at every event.
Thank you.
Sorry, I would like to shine some
Thank you.
light on, any cancer fighting organizations as well as any mental health organizations, just because those are two really important things that, would love to spread awareness on. There's a lot of important people in my life that deal with both. And I think it's
Yes.
great, especially in the, student athlete community, to raise awareness about mental health and, any cancer fighting organizations. Love to shed light on that because, keep your loved ones close. You really know or you never know what's going to happen to the people that are close to you. So, to shed some light.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Thank
Oh, that's
you.
great. Well, thank you both again. We'll end it like we always do. Go Bears!
Go Bear.
Go Bears.
Yay!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care and be well.
You again.
Mya and MJ were amazing guests. I love the passion and the joy they bring to every competition as true student athletes at Cal. And how wonderful is it for them to have helped build the Cal women's gymnastics team into this powerhouse top 10 ranked program. To echo what Sharman Smith said in our last episode, they didn't just join a more established program somewhere else. They came to Cal, built it up, and put their name on the women's gymnastics program. Be sure to go to Haas this Friday, February 7th at 7 p.m. to show your support for Mya, MJ, and all of the Cal women gymnasts when they take on Stanford. I'm sure they'll love to see and hear the support. That's going to do it for this week's episode. I say it every week, but we really appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please tell all your friends to subscribe. The more viewers and listeners we have, the easier it will be for other Cal fans to find us. And if you're just listening to these podcasts, you can also watch us on YouTube. You can find us under Tell the Whole Damn World. Next week, we're excited to talk with broadcaster extraordinaire Roxy Bernstein. Cal fans everywhere fondly remember Roxy as the former voice of Cal basketball, who has gone on to cover college football, basketball, Major League Baseball, and the NHL on a national level. But no matter what sport or what team he's covering, there's no doubting he always bleeds blue and gold. Before we go, if you'd like to drop us a note to say hi or pass along any suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Just drop us an email at tellthewholedamnworld@gmail.com. And finally, I'd like to remind you about ACTS ALS. You can learn more about their mission to help turn ALS into a treatable disease by visiting axeals.org. That's axeals.org. If you're able, please consider making a donation. See you next week. As Doctor Who famously says, we're all stories in the end. Make it a good one. What stories do you want to share? We want you to boldly tell the whole damn world about it. Go Bears!